Hello, it's Peter Temple, the Truth Sage, from the Telegram channel New Earth Rising. And if you've been following my calendars, I'm just going to do an update. There's a lot going on this week. I did one on April the 12th, which was Orthodox Easter. And it's just 4 days later that I'm updating it. So I'll tell you, an awful lot has happened. I'm just going to pick up I'll give you a little bit of background in terms of housekeeping, in terms of what some of these numbers are, in case you're new. But this is really the date of April the 1st on the Julian calendar, which starts the new year of 2026. So that was on the 14th on the normal Gregorian calendar. So along the top here of all of these date panels, there is a number which gives you today's date. So it's the 16th today. This is us today. And on the bottom, there are the Julian calendar numbers. So here is, for example, this is the 14th. This relates very much to this graphic here, the 14th, 1, 2, 3 mountains, and then 4 to 13. So it begins, each one a different day of the month. And then the 14th day is in a heart up here. You can't really see the 14th because this isn't a really high-end graphic, but that just gives you, so it begins. And this is a key point. We always thought this was going to be, or at one point we thought it was going to be related to February 14th. And it has just carried on, and it is definitely happening now. And of course, that was Valentine's Day, the 14th in February. So we're talking about April right now. Let's go to our calendar here. And so we've got this 14th here, which happened at the same time as April the 1st. So that's a very important date. It's Happy New Year on the Julian calendar. And I did the whole thing with 3.14, which completes the circle. That has to do with pi. So that's that pi graphic. And the GG 300 we talked about. This is a key day. It's the end of March on the Julian calendar. So this is our split to the new month. This would be the old year. This would have been New Year's Eve. And we've got the new year here. Now I've changed all of these Julian dates for April to 1-1. 1, 2. The last one I did from the 12th was 4-1, denoting that it was the 4th month, but I'm now considering this as the 1st month, and that's the beginning of our year. Now that may change, and this is the really interesting, complex part of this, because we've got 2 calendars running here, and we're eventually going to change to a 3rd calendar, which is the lunar calendar, and that's going to give us 13 months of 28 days each in the same 364 day year. So it just compresses the months, so you get 13 where you'd normally have 12, and that is going to do things like change birthdays and things like that. But it'll all work out, and I'm sure they have that figured out. But here we are. I just go back to April the 1st again. Trump had said, and we thought that would be the original April, which is the panel above here, but the military works on the Julian calendar, so that's what it's ended up being. Trump had said that April 2nd will start everything off, and yeah, not much happened on the 1st. Not much happened on the 2nd, except that we found out yesterday that Trump is going to get arrested, and that it seems to be that he is deep state. So he has been accused of being a rapist and a pedophile by Kim Tesla, who is the commander-in-chief press secretary for the military. And she knows this whole thing backwards because she was in Sarasota and took down Bush and the gang and was involved in 9/11. So she's a key element in this entire story. And of course, she is also Tesla, who is, I think she was brought back, reincarnated from the original Tesla, who developed electricity. So she's got all of that in her brain. and the free electricity is where we're moving to. So again, integral to this entire program. So I think we can trust her. I don't think she's doing anything unusual with this news, but there's a lot of audio that's come out on it. And of course, I can't give you that. It's just difficult to, you can't put it in a plot here because you have to listen to every bit of it, and some of these are 9 minutes long, and you get like 6 of them, and so it goes on. Anyway, here's today. We've been told that the Bay of Pigs is happening starting tomorrow. Now, of course, there's two possibilities for the Bay of Pigs. Originally in 1961, when this all happened, it started on April the 17th and went to the 19th, which is down here. This is the 19th. It's hard to see the 19 here, but this is 17, 18, and 19. There is a 17 on the Julian calendar as well, 17, 18, and 19, but I'm not figuring this one in here because we had the Gregorian calendar when this happened the first time, and I would think that this would relate to the Gregorian calendar rather than the Julian. So I've got these 3 days, and it's supposed to go from the 17th to the 19th, which means it's going to start tomorrow, and that, of course, is the attack on Cuba. And this time it's going to be for real, and Cuba is going to be given its freedom, which will be absolutely spectacular. So look for that over the next 3 days. That's what I'm expecting. And then I think we're going to go into the scare event. But first, we figured out that the golden ticket here, which is on the 19th, and the reason for that, 19th right there, the reason for that is that, I'll make this a little bigger here. Here is the golden ticket we were given, and I thought that might be, because it said the storm, I thought that might relate to the emergency broadcast system, but now I believe that this is, because this has got to come first, this is the RV, or the RV is really the revaluation of currencies. Most people use those letters to remind us that we have the distribution of cash coming up from the currencies, but it's not the same thing. So we're going to have, when Trump, the story is, the narrative right now is that when Trump gets arrested, that will take down the market, and I truly believe that will happen. So that makes some sense. We need the market to come down first, and that will give the currencies the ability to revaluate, even though that's another system. We have the old system, which is the fiat system of money, which we are taking apart, and we're moving to the quantum financial system, which really came in April the 1st, and that's why that date was so important, April the 1st. So what I have here, if you look at this golden ticket, which reflects the RV, the date on this is 1/19, April the 19th. Okay, and that's the key date. So you go back to the calendar, and there is the 19th right there. So we're considering the RV. I think there might be a blackout here leading into it, but the RV, I think, will start on the 20th, and we will either start to get emails out on the 19th, or it may start on the 20th. But I think this is going to be covered over by the scare event at the same time. And they've talked about that before, where we would be able to go, or the humanitarians would be able to go to the redemption centers underneath the scare event, because we know what it's all about. We've had this for, well, most of us, probably 4 to 5 years, have been awake, and some of us, I go back 25 years, I was waking up, and even before that. So we do need to have the scare event. We haven't had it yet, and then we will go to black. I'm not sure where in here it will fit in. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days here, really 7 days, because we have something starting on the 27th. The state of the Statue of Liberty should go down sometime during this week. We do have the second Easter here, so we can still say the timeline is Easter, because this is the 12th. So this is the Easter on the on the Gregorian calendar, up here we had Orthodox Easter on the 12th, the real Easter, and we also have it on the Julian calendar on the 25th, interestingly enough, and there's a 13-day difference between the 12th and the 25th. So 25 minus 12 is 13. So you can see that we seem to always move in 13-day increments right now. All right, so that was a lot to take in. So I think this is our scare event week this week. I think it will involve nuclear to some degree. Trump has to go down first. The market has to go down first. There's a new moon tomorrow. So the 17th tomorrow is a really important date. New moon, that would be typically, or the day after it, Monday, where the market would go down, because the market typically will turn on a new moon or a full moon. Okay, so we're at a new moon, and that could denote the beginning of the beginning of the new year as well. I mean, this is April 1. There's 3 days. Nothing is clear because, and I've told you this many times before, we have to take 13 days out of the calendar and get the Julian calendar back to the same date as the Gregorian calendar. So that's going to happen somewhere in here, and I don't know where. And it's just overhanging everything and making things very, 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 very difficult. But the big picture is, consider the RV starting on the 20th, which is Monday, and we may get emails out on Sunday on the 19th. We'll have to see what happens. Then I think we have redemption centers and a scare event during the remainder of this week. There is that second Easter here on the Julian calendar. And then we're into next week, where we go into the 26th and 27th, 26th on the Sunday on the Gregorian calendar. And there's a story that on my earlier calendars, I had a period where I was getting woken up at 1:27 at night. This went on 12 different times in the space of about 3 weeks. So it was obviously a very important date. This is 1:27 here, and we also have a 1:27 on the Julian calendar way down on the right here, but I'll get to that in just a moment. So 1:27 I still have as a key event. This we know is when Charles is going to come to meet with Trump on the in the White House on the 27th, and he's going to be here apparently from the 27th to the 30th. So this is an interesting little area in here to be thinking about, okay? So Charles comes to the U.S. I believe, this is me personally, and we've heard this before, that he's going to get arrested for pedophilia, and so that brings that out into the open. Would he get arrested the first day? Could be. I don't know whether he's going to meet with Trump that first day or whether it's going to be the second day. I kind of put it in here as the second day. Charles gets arrested, but I don't know how they're going to play this. And then this would take us to black, I think, after the scare event. I think this is our black day on the 28th. And then we go into the emergency broadcast system after that. This is my thinking, okay? This I'm sure about. The start of EBS, I'm not 100% sure of. But if we started on the 29th, the interesting thing about the 29th is that if April is the first month of the new year, it should have 28 days. Only 28 days. This is the 28th day. So we have a couple of extra days here on the Gregorian calendar because, before we get into the lunar calendar, we would have 30 days in April. But in the new lunar calendar, we should have 28 days in April. So there's kind of a couple of extra days here. Now, I have EBS starting here. I put in 2 extra days. And this could be Bay of Pigs, but if we're doing EBS, it's not going to be. And we got a full moon in here, and it turns into May on the Gregorian calendar. So we're going to drift into the beginning of May, and I believe this is all emergency broadcast, but I'm not sure exactly what day this is going to start with. Now, if you do start on the 29th with 10 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that's my green area, which would be emergency broadcast. That takes me to May the 8th. So it starts on the 29th and goes to May the 8th. But if these 2 days are going, it would actually start on May the 1st, because you would, you would take these 2 days out and you just slide May the 1st over here. And that would start the new May 1st for 28 days. See how complex this is? It's just really incredible. But at the end of that, so this could be going from the 29th to May the 8th, 29 to May the 8th on the Gregorian calendar, or with these 2 days taken out, it could go from May the 1st, right? If you slide that over, it would be May the 1st going to the 10th, because the dates would change. This is the 25th of the month here, which typically means Christmas at the end. And here's the extra 2 days at the end. So this could stretch over to the 10th. Not sure how this is going to work. And I have another 127 here. And in actual fact, this is Sunday, May the 10th. Okay, so 2:10. Do you remember the Mickey Mouse clock? Do I still have that over here? Yeah, I got one over here. So the Mickey Mouse clock is a 10 and a 2. Isn't that interesting? And so I have this as an end with my 127 downloads that I got continually for 12 days. And I have it on the Mickey Mouse clock as the ending. If you slide this, if you take out these 2 days, that would bring this up to the 10th right in here. So that's what I'm thinking. You got to give me a little bit of leeway on this one, because, well, we're getting leeway on everything. Things keep changing. And this Trump arrest is going to be a big deal. So that takes him out of the picture. We know we're watching a movie, or have been watching a movie. So all of these characters have to leave the script. You know what? You clean up the script at the end, and you know that from reading novels. You have to clean up the narrative for each of the characters, and that's what's happening now. When Trump gets arrested, that's going to be the big first arrest, and everything else is going to come out after that. You're going to get a ton of arrests with this next week coming in. So I'm not sure when Trump is going to get arrested, when it's going to be made public. Somewhere very soon. If we are looking for the market coming down here, I think it would have to be before the market comes down. The market could also come down on the Monday here with the RV and Trump. So it's just really difficult to tell exactly when it's going to happen. But I'm looking at overall, big picture, the RV starting at the beginning 1920, and I think that the EBS is going to start either on May the 1st without these 2 days, with these 2 days gone, or it'll be May the 1st to the 10th, or it'll be April 29th to May 8th. It's the same area. It's just because of these 2 days, the dates will change. And then we end up on the Mickey Mouse clock, because this would head over to the left here. So this is actually on a Sunday, and that would end this off. That's my best effort, boy. I spent a lot of time figuring this one out in the last couple of days, because this has hit so quickly. And in fact, we just heard about Trump getting arrested yesterday. It hasn't been made public, but that's for our ears and our eyes as Annans on this. And so we are looking for some big things coming. The RV right away, and the EBS a little bit later on, but it does end up taking us into May. And there have been stories that they are waiting for some of the schools at least to come out in May before they end this thing off. So they could even move this back a little bit, but I don't know what's going to take place during this period. So, because we're up to FISA, we're up to the ending with a lot of things that are happening. So I'm pretty comfortable giving you this, and we'll just see what happens. There's another full moon here on May the 1st. Take care. We're very close. The market, by the way, is at a top. The S&P 500 is at a new top. We still have a little bit of work to get gold and silver up to the previous high. We are going to have another high still in oil. So you are going to have gas issues for the next few days. But once the market tops, I mean, here we are today, could be tomorrow, could be Monday, then you're going to see gas prices, oil prices and gas prices come down dramatically. So that's the next move on the downside. So it looks like we're all set up. We're just going to have to watch to see if this thing plays out the way I've got it portrayed on this calendar. And that just remains to be seen.